Hi, I'm Joe. Welcome back. This is the Ultimate Love Letter. And thank you for joining the conversation. Thank you for bringing your energy, for engaging with the community. Thank you for helping build the community. This is very much your podcast as it is my podcast. So thank you for making time to be here. I want to immediately get into the topic of routines. So this is something that has come up quite regularly when I'm engaging with friends and family. And I thought it would be important to let's discuss it here. Let's get into it. What are your routines? What are my routines? What are the routines of the greats, the super achievers, those that we are inspired by, the ones that we intend to achieve similar goals that some of the ones that inspire us the most have achieved? How did they do it? You know, I noticed that many years ago, actually, when I set out to do the deep work, the mindset work, to begin to build, change, create a new life for myself, I turned to several different books, and the wisdom that was shown in these literatures, they all spoke, no matter what topic they were speaking about. And I'm saying from business to calmness to spirituality to just self-improvement, all of it touched on the importance of the mind and how the mind creates our life. And they all also begin with how we begin to change our mind is the habits that we have within our life. You know, you've heard this this saying, tell me your habits and I'll tell you your future. I found in my own personal life that to be completely true. If we're whatever life actually we intend to be living in the future, we have to create habits in the present that equal, that support who we want to become in the future. And quite honestly, it all begins with a powerful routine, the right mindset, creating a space to cultivate that mind that will support who we want to become in the future. You know, as I begin to learn the power of the right routines, I began to see the trend. Like any super achiever, any celebrity that has achieved greatness, any athlete that has achieved greatness, and when you listen to them speak in interviews, they're all talking about how they've set aside, actually almost always in the morning, time to just be with themselves, to just create a space of centering before doing. And that's what I want to get into. I want to go over, you know, just some of the powerful practices that I've learned, some that I do in my life, what I do actually in my life, that has just created a playful, free life, one filled with almost zero worry. And now, yes, anxiety creeps in, but when it creeps in, I already have the remedy in place. I know that in the moment anxiety creeps in, I am no longer aligned with the truth, with my highest self. So I switch the thought from worry to faith in that moment. And the more I do that, the more the muscle in my mind and the truth and the faith just overcomes, just builds, just overflows into my life. And it all started with a morning routine. So my morning routine that has quite honestly just changed my life begins with rising in the morning and pulling for my devotional before my phone. Like my phone stays on do not disturb well until I'm done with my morning routine. I usually rise between 6 to 7 a.m., just depending, sometimes 5 to 7 a.m., just depending on, you know, when God is allowing me to hear the birds chirping, when I'm just feeling led to rise. But when I do, the only time I'm looking at my phone is just to see what time it is. That's it. I'm not pulling for my phone to check my emails. I'm certainly not looking at social media accounts. I am creating space to be with myself, to be with the Creator, to be with the Most High. And as I'm creating that space, what I have found rather, is that it spills over to fill my life, my day, with just calmness, with just peace, with just quietness. And I mean quietness of the mind. Yes, I'm going out into the day and I'm dealing with, friends and family and clients and just the pressures of life. But I am deeply quiet in my mind. I am centered, and it's all because of the time I've given myself when I rise. So for me personally, I wake up, I make a cup of coffee, and I take immediately to my lounge chair, which is set with my devotional, my journal, my other books that I may be reading. And they rotate, monthly, because I read a couple books each month. And so the more that I get into my morning, just being with my breath, when I'm reading my devotional, I'm contemplating on what the message is saying. Because if you're like me, you understand communication from our highest self, from God, from our source, from our soul, comes in many different ways. And one avenue I'm fed is through my devotional. And I find it interesting. Every time I read my devotional, it is speaking to me exactly where I need to be fed. Like anything I'm dealing with in life, there is no coincidence. I open that book and just inspiration flows in the questions that I had for God, for the universe, for myself. I find those answers quite usually first thing in the morning in that devotional, regardless of the day. It's so magical. Speaking of magic, the second thing I do, I've learned and I learned this practice from Rhonda Byrne, the Magic Book. And what it is a magic journal. It's a journal that creates magic because we are giving gratitude for things that are happening in our life every day. And we're doing it consistently for 30 days. And it is true. She says, if you stick with the 30-day gratitude journal that she puts out, or that she's suggesting, not that she's only putting this out, but if you create a gratitude journal with just picking up a pad and pen, that's your gratitude journal, it creates magic. And what she does is she teaches you this by way of her book, The Magic. And she prompts you to list, 10 things every day that you're grateful for. And it could be the tiniest thing. And usually when I was starting out, it was the tiniest thing. It was the warm cup of coffee in my cup, the beautiful commute I had into work today, the job that I had, friends that I had dinner with the night before. It started off very small and only 10 things. And before I knew it, the more I journaled my gratitude for everything that happened the day before, 10 items would turn into 20, 20 would turn into 30. And then all of a sudden now my hand is just falling asleep because there's just so much to journal about, to be thankful for, because the more I've given gratitude, the more goodness has just come into my life. Anything we focus on, we get more of. So why not focus on the good? right? Because the good gets better, it gets great. Also, at the same time, if we're focusing on things that are not so great, things that are wrong, guess what happens? The same thing, the same effect happens. We get more of those things that are going wrong. We get more of experiences that cause us to feel anxious and worry. Why? Because that's what we're focusing on. So I would say the most profound part of my morning routine is journaling, gratitude. It's like my favorite thing to do. I don't know, almost, I think I counted the other day, I may have like 11, 12 journals that are just filled with gratitude through the years. And I've journaled consistently. I started journaling in 2014, but I would say I really got consistent with it around 2016. So from then into now, I have maybe almost a dozen, gratitude journals that are just filled. And every now and again, I'll go back and I'll thumb through it, and you can just see the beautiful growth, the spiritual growth, also the things that I intended early on, like I'm living that life today. And it's magic. Like Rhonda Byrne says, it's magical. And it all starts with gratitude. The next thing I do is I meditate. And I don't do an extensive meditation. I know that it's recommended by the greats to meditate, 30 minutes in the day and 30 minutes in the evening. For me, I really just close my mind and my eyes for like 5 minutes in the morning. It's just that simple. And I'm just listening to my breath. And yes, as my mind does wander, because it doesn't matter. I don't judge it. I'm just aware that my mind has wandered, and I bring it back into my body, into my spirit, into myself, into my being. And as I am just with my breath and just with myself, things that I have intended on, things that I want to accomplish for that day become clear. I'm really big on to-do lists. I keep calendars for myself on my phone. I know what I need to do when I need to do it. I'm just an organized person. And I often decide, or I often think, I know I have this on my to-do list, but let's see where God prioritizes. And what I found is that as I'm becoming clearer and more centered in my spirit, God, I'm allowing space for wisdom, for God, for my soul to speak and for me to hear it, to actually hear it, because our spirit is always speaking. It's always guiding us. The problem is we're often too busy in our minds to be able to hear it, to understand what to prioritize. But once you create enough space in the morning to just be, we are beings, we are not doings, to just be with yourself, the clearer the channel becomes and the louder the guidance gets. And once we're able to hear the guidance and then act on the guidance, we will find we are now in a state of flow. We are no longer going against the grain. Our spirit is speaking. It is telling us what to prioritize in that day, or in that moment, rather. And as we just go where we're led, make the phone calls that we're guided to make, then we will find everything is happening, and it will seem like it's happening with effortless ease. And the reason it will feel that way is because, honestly, that is what it is. You're no longer thinking. You're not using your mind, quote unquote, to just spin your energy and force it in a million different directions because you're trying to attain and achieve everything. But you're simply quieting the mind. You're simply removing the clutter and allowing wisdom, truth to fill up and bubble up into your day. And that force is so powerful. It will guide you. It will move you. It will create a sense of just peace and calmness and confidence. And you will be in a state of flow. It will no longer be restrictive. It will no longer be forceful. On the contrary, it will be playful. It will feel free. It will feel fulfilling, all because it started with a beautiful, centered morning routine. And it did not include your phone, your email, or any outside disturbances. And the beautiful thing is, it doesn't take long to do. For me, I love my morning routine. On average, I'm within it for about an hour every morning. Sometimes, especially, on the weekends or if I'm traveling, I can be with it more longer, like 3 hours. But that's just because I'm savoring it. Life has given me the space to be with it longer that day, regardless of what I'm doing. But it can be however long or as short as you see fit. And what I mean is, I don't want to discourage anyone that may hear, like an hour is just too long out of my day. It probably was not an hour when I first started off. I can't remember how long it was. All I know is whether it was 5, 10, 20 minutes every morning when I first started, I just know it has drawn out to be this beautiful, like I set aside this beautiful hour-long space in the morning. And life has supported me to be able to do that. Like, wouldn't you want to just have the freedom to just be, just to do nothing essentially for an hour every morning, and then be guided, be inspired by the day ahead, and find that you have achieved far more by doing less rather than doing more, physically laboring more, stressed more, and finding at the end of your day, you still haven't completed what was essential that day. That is the power, and that is the magic of the right morning routines. Now, I also hear people incorporate exercising in their morning routines. That is beautiful. I personally haven't. I practice yoga usually in the late afternoons, early evenings. But you know what? I'm going to intend, because I would love to be an early morning yogi, because those yogis are different. Whenever I've been in the 6 a.m., 7 a.m. yoga classes, I've noticed those yogas are the serious. They're the most still. They're the most calm. Their energy is focused. They hit different. So I'm growing there. But I am inspired totally by everything that comes out of my morning routine. You want to do more in less time? Set aside a little bit of time every morning. Sacrifice and restrain yourself from grabbing for your phone and checking social media first thing in the morning. It will be there when you're done. And just be and watch the magic unfold in your life. It's that simple. And there you have it, is the simplest, most easy, most effective, most beautiful morning routine that has changed my life. Rising to have and make coffee, reading my devotional, journaling gratitude, meditating. 4 beautiful things that have changed my life from one of chaos, almost an hour morning commute to work, stress-filled days, to one of I rise without alarm clock. I have plenty of time in the morning to be with myself, my soul, my God, my breath. By the time I'm done journaling gratitude, I'm high on life, high on excitement, high on readiness. I have a leisure, quiet, backstreet, quick commute to my first client. Totally relaxed, and I arrive refreshed. It feels like, honestly, I do nothing all day. And that is another thing that happens as a byproduct of a beautiful morning routine. You will find that it feels like you just begin to live a life of play. Why? Because as you are prioritizing what your soul, what God is asking you to prioritize as a result of being able to hear what you're ought to prioritize as a result of creating quiet space in your morning routine, you will find your life will become playful because you're filled with all the things you love. You're doing all the things that serve you and serve others. And at the end of the day, you would have thought like, wow, what did I really do? I went and did exactly what I wanted to do, and everything is done. And it was with ease. Don't sell yourself short. Get involved in a morning routine. Listen to anybody you're inspired by. How did they do it? I guarantee you it started with a powerful morning routine. So I want to hear about it. Do you have a routine? What do you do? Do you just grab for your phone? Do you just get up, shower, and run out of the house? I know I used to be that 100%, actually for most of my life. I want to hear yours. Maybe you have a beautiful routine that I want to incorporate in my life, so please share. All right, until next time, thank you so much for joining the conversation on the power and the benefits of the right routine. We'll talk soon. Oh, yeah. Calls to action. See, I was going to end this. Calls to action. Please share, like, and subscribe. Comment. I want to hear from you. I'm also available on YouTube. Comment there. I always reach out. I'm encouraged by your messages, whether you're DMing me on Instagram. I'm on Instagram at The Ultimate Love Letter, also on TikTok at The Ultimate Love Letter. I'm on Threads and also YouTube at The Ultimate Love Letter. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being a part of the conversation. We'll chat soon. Bye for now.